Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I'm gonna share a little story of back in '98 again. To those good, Folsom, New Folsom to be exact. And we're over here in B Yard this time, and you get to meet different peoples, and for me, especially when one of your homeboys, that came to your neighborhood, drives up, normally you get your little care packages and just to show him your some love and to help him out till he gets his property. So that was the case with one of my homeboys and my homeboy Chivo, right? And at that time he had came from Pelican Bay to shoot. He was he had done a little stretch and he was back then it was like you were forcing it to get kicked out of Pelican Bay on those VRBs, being that they would go by your history, violent history or gang affiliation or whatnot. And back then, and but this time him nor I we weren't validated back then. So he drives up and I embrace him and I welcome him to the institution and introduce him to other homies and all that. And it comes to be he was also born in the same place that I was. Like I shared with some of the the people, like I'm Salvadorian, but grew up in L.A. on the west side. And so I made my homeboy Chivo, and I noticed from the beginning, like he was like okay, and he was always really stuck into like politicking, and every conversation would lead into oh yeah, the shoe this and the shoe that, and Pelican Bay this and Pelican Bay that. Well, at that time I was doing good for myself. I had a few homeboys looking out for me still, and as a matter of fact, one of my other homeboys that was still alive as well, he was looking out for me. My homeboy Risky, rest in peace, from Africa, he ended up getting killed just months after he paroled, and he got killed over there in Whittier Boulevard. Like they say, he was out of bounds. But so I had my resources back then due to everything that I did out there with the neighborhood. So I still had my my status with the hood, with the neighborhood, but this case was a little different, this situation, with him. But my other homeboy Chivo, because his mind frame was more about, politicking and prison. He was more, institutionalized by now, So he little by little, he started, trying to influence me with all that. But at this time, I was like, yeah, no, I'm good with all that, because I knew what it would lead to, you end up being validated, and back then I'm trying to avoid all that. So at this time, he was doing kind of bad, trying to get on his feet, and and I'm over here, even extending my hand and offering him, hey, well, you know what, you getting a package this quarter. I'm offering him a package, and I told him, hey, look, I'll hook you up. I'm gonna have someone send you a package, and don't trip. So I do that for him, and we mentioned a few homeboys, that we grew up with, that we know each other. He was from South Central as well, King Boulevard, different cliques, hangouts. But when it came to 18, neighborhood, we always embraced each other. So I noticed that little by little, even some other homies of mine also started noticing, like, hey, they were like, hey, I noticed that she will hang out with you a lot, but he's kind of like, jealous, where, what you have. He looks at it like, how come you have all this? And he doesn't when he's been putting in work in here, and he's doing time for the neighborhood, for putting in work out there. So, I'm taking that in consideration as well. But, and my mindset, like I said, I was still a little bit, wet behind the ears back then. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, but I'm like, I'm helping him out and whatnot. So, okay, so, some time passes, and we ended up moving him to the block. So, so we got to, like, be, a little tighter, getting to know each other a little better, So, I'm under the assumption that, the homie got love for me, plus he noticing that, I care for him, I care about him, So, so I'm even went as far as like, hey, you know what? What's up? Let's get some visits. What's up? Who comes to visit you? And he tells me, oh yeah, I got this hyena this system, and this lady, back then, I believe he was one of his cousins, or he said he was his cousin, but that's what I was.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So we're over here in BR and 5 block to be specific, and okay, so we work out the visit, and I talked to my homeboy and hey, so he can bring her to visit him, and at that time you doing your things through visits, so he's supposed to do something through the visits and stuff, and so everything went as planned, right? But as while we're in the visits, I'm letting him know, like, hey, nah, don't do it this way. Do things this way. Do things this way. And but some people are stubborn, so he's like, no, I got this. So okay, so to make it short, once we come out from the visit, we come to the stairs, and and as soon as we come down, they're waiting for him squad, they're waiting for him downstairs, right under the staircase, and from the visitors in New Folsom. That's how it's over there. So okay, so they pull him over, and then I'm coming down too. So they just look at me. So I'm like, I leave. So he goes through the hole, gets charged for trying to he got busted for trying to bring stuff in here, right? So okay, so I'm over here, I'm like, well, that's messed up, I'm feeling bad for the homie, and but I have no idea that as he's back there and as sick, he's already brewing, some scheme to try to, something to fall back and throw fault on me, So, okay, so, like about 3 months, like 3 months, 90 days, time frame he spent back there, he comes back out, and he's telling people like, oh yeah, I got busted because of homeboy, and I don't know this yet, he's just saying, oh yeah, someone must have said something, and something, and they got me for that, and I was like, no, you were being, all out doing stuff all the dumb way, I thought, that's not how you do it, but you weren't trying to listen, so he told me, hey, well, look, try to move me back into the block over there with you so we could talk. So I was like, oh, okay, Simone, we'll get you back there. We'll get you back to the block. So we move things around, and, we get him to...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We get him back to, 5 block to kick it with us. So he goes in in another cell with one of the homies I knew from Compton 155, and so he's already in the block, and the homie told me one day, cause back then they were on day room, and we used to walk to the chow hall, get your food, and one night and come back, and you just gotta pass through, like get patted down by the CO when you go into the chow hall. So the homie came after day room. Other homie from 155 Compton comes in my cell, and tells me, hey, we having a good time, and so the homie tells me, hey, why the homie wanted to move over here, right? And I'm like, no. And honestly, at this time, I didn't even have the slightest idea, like, what were his intentions, because I'm under, I'm over here thinking that, oh, that's my homeboy, and plus I went out of my way to, have my other homie out there in the streets, a payaso, work the business for him, and, we settle, we, pay for the gas and everything, and it takes effort and time and money, from LA to, Sacramento, and, I did all this for this dude. So, with the assumption that, it's my homeboy, I'm over here, still with that mind frame that, homies, don't break, we stick together. So, okay, so he tells me, hey, he's telling, telling people that the reason he got busted because you trucked it, because you must have said something, and he's saying that when he was trying to bring in here, that it was hot, it was hot. So, that means that, it belonged to, one of the, big homies and stuff, So I'm like, what? And then I was like, it blew my mind. I was like, oh hell no, that's way out. So I'm trying to wrap my head around, that whole, scheme and situation. So, so I'm like, damn. But I also know that he has pool and he has juice. So I'm like, man, I already know this dude's gonna try to, wash his hands with me, and and so he can come out shining and come on top and stuff, and throw me under the bus. Okay, so a few days go by, and so he tells me we go to the day room, and he tells me, hey, next time we go to dinner, I'm gonna go kick it with you because we have day room. So by the time we release day room, we'll come out together, and I'll go back to the pad. I'll go back to the cell. So I'm like, all right, yeah, that sounds fair. He say, hey, I need to talk to you, so we can straighten things up about, how everything, played out. And I told him, hey, well, you know what? You know how things played out. You trucked it, but he didn't want to hear that. So he said, hey, well, we'll talk in the cell. That's what we had agreed upon. That we'll settle things in the cell and figure whatever, whatever comes out of the whole thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it like that. So, that time comes, and, they start really opening the doors, bam, 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 to walk to the chow house. So, they open all the volunteer, and but just in case, I'm also not a fool. I know where I'm at. So, I hooked up a plastic strap, melted plastic and rolled up. It takes time, and I put like a little metal tip on top from a broken piece of nail clipper, and I hooked it up like real fine, so it's like right on the tip, and I wrapped it with a string like in front of my my boxers, where I could just snap the string, and so just this is just in case, a precaution, right? So I come out, thinking that after, we come out and go to dinner, he's gonna go to the cell and we're gonna, take care of whatever or talk it over, That's what I'm getting, thinking. So, he's standing, with his back, against his door, and I come out and I tell myself, hey, just go on the front so, I can have time to talk to my homeboy, And as I come, by him, I even go as far as like, hey, what's up, homie, and shake his hand, like, all right, like that's what we normally do in here, like, to show, your cariño and your respect, like shake hands, like, all right now, and go, keep doing what you're doing. So okay, I shake his hand and like, all right, homeboy, I shake his hand and I keep on, I keep on walking. So right at that moment when I passed him, I felt, a hard, hit, like on the side of my, he was going for my neck, but he hit me like right up, right in between my head and my back of my neck. But, it honestly, in the heat of the moment, it felt like he just socked me, like
You have 60 seconds remaining.
he just bombed on me. So, I'm like, oh snap! So out of instinct, I turn around, with my fist already, and fist up, and then I swung around, and I swear, like by pure, luck, my first punch got him right in the nose, and I actually, like, you could hear it when it snapped a little, and I started, drilling him, but that's when I seen it. So yeah, so I swung and by pure luck, like I mentioned, I hit it right on the nose and I heard it like snapping, like boom. So so man, we started getting down, and that's when I noticed like he has he made his own strap too, so he has it like face, pointing downward, so he's like trying to get me, like he got me like on the side of my face, and he swung again, and he when he swung again on the side by the door, because I'm trying to press him against the door, he got me like right by my jugular, on the side of my neck, but he didn't go like deep. And right at that moment he swung like downwards, but I swung and it hit me right on my forearm, so I seen the little metal tip like snap, so which gave me like a quick gave me like quick moment so I could jump back, which I did, and I went in my boxer and grabbed my strap, and I started yanking it, bam bam, and it snapped the little string like bing. And snap, and now I rushed him, with the strap, and I'm getting, he's trying to swing all wild now, so I'm clipping him like in the head, like in the side of his, face, neck, and everywhere, and bam, 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 and now I'm starting hearing get down, get down, get down, and like you can't get down because it's your life, and your life is on the line, and at that moment, so you're like nothing else matters. You're trying to stay alive, That's that's part of being in here, and so I'm getting him, and he's still trying to like hit me with the other one that he has, and it's just like broken, sharp, edges, so it ain't really doing nothing, but he's still scraping me like in the top of my head, and right at that moment when I'm, clipping them again, I hear this big old bang like on the side of the door, like boom, and then it's big, we call it Big Bertha, and the Bertha, like, the big old rubber gun just hits the side of the door, like boom, like real hard, and another shot, boom, and then you can hear it like hitting the metal rails, that divide the day room from the cell area. And we're going at it like hard, and they're like, get down, and I'm over here slipping, and like, fighting and slipping in my own blood, and his, both of us were both like, just, by now, people that know about this, you get, and I'm telling them all like that, like you want to hit me through the back, like, like what the hell, And he just looks at me like he don't say nothing, but I see his eyes like he wasn't expecting my reaction either, And right at that moment, I get maced up, and it burns like hell too, and we're getting maced up, some hot ass mace over our wounds, so man, that's like a solid, deep pain, and they take us down, and take us down, and I swung the little thing around, the little strap that I had, and his other thing was like on the side as well, and and we're prone down on the floor, and and it, and within like 2-3 minutes it's full of everywhere, and he will be surprised, through 2 or 3 minutes of stabbing each other. In this case, it seems like it's like a long time. You'd be surprised because it felt like like it's fast, but it's like, man, it's like forever. So because you got to remember, like one of those wounds could kill you. One of he might get lucky. And me, I was just, working on, it was just my reaction, I was trying to, defend myself as well, and I'm also like I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like shocked, like taken back, like damn, like what's up, man? Like, we're supposed to be homeboys, That's another thing that, coming through the systems, it kind of opened my eyes too, like to, when it came to like prison and politicking, like that homeboy card, that's gonna go out the window, So I mean, if you have that in mind when you come in here, like, I got, that I'm sure there's people out there that young homies that think the same way like I used to, like oh yeah, well if I get locked up, it don't matter. I got a lot of homeboys in there, yeah, when you come in here, and if you're not with the game, and your homeboy's at a higher rank or whatever the situation might be, you're gonna be like, damn, it's that homeboy card gone. You're in a survival mode, and you kind of like on your own, and you're gonna have to represent and show what you're about. It doesn't matter what you did in the streets. It's gonna come down to the prison life, what you're gonna be willing to do in here, and what you're willing to do, and how far you're willing to take it. And that was like his mind frame at that time, and my mind frame at that time was just my reaction and trying to live. And so we get hanged up, and they take our shirts off, and we're both bleeding, and they're like, even the cops were like, hey, what's up, man? Are you guys from the same neighborhood, from the same gang? And we're like, no comments, we ain't saying nothing. So we go to ASEC, but before that, we go to the hospital. They take us to the hospital, and they ask us down there, in the holding cages before they take us to the clinic, like, hey, what happened, and what's going on, and we're like both saying no comments, no comments. Well, once they leave, I briefly ask him, hey, Holmes, what's up, man? What the hell, what you do that for? And he just tells me like, hey, nah, you messed up, you messed up, that thing that got lost, it was hot, it didn't belong to me, and it's all on you, so you had that coming. So I'm like, oh, all right. So then the cops come and take us to the hole, so I couldn't talk to him no more. So this is when I find out more stuff when I go to the hole. Remember he was back there, for 90 days. So when I get back there, I ran into another homie that I knew for years, from the harbor area, a little man from Keystone. And I'm like, what's up, homeboy? And he got love for me because, we know each other for years. So he tells me, hey, I already knew you were going to come back here. So I tell him, look, here's my paperwork. This is what happened. And, this dude's, saying this and this and that. So he gets back to me and tells me, hey, look, this dude got pulled, with the homie. So he's trying to watch you up because he trucked this. So he ain't trying to take that responsibility. So he's trying to throw it all on you, So I was like, it felt like someone threw a bucket of cold water in my face, like, damn, like that. And he's like, yeah, and he said, man, they were even tripping. They're like, man, we were like, man, isn't that your homeboy? And apparently, like I said, it don't mean nothing to some people, So I was like, just like taking it back, like damn, okay, so time goes by, we're back there in the hole, for stabbing each other, they give us some time back there, and the hole, and this, and at this time, I get visits, I remember I was getting visits as well. So, one of my homegirls comes and visits me, Morena, and she tells me I told her what happened through the visit, and I wrote everything down in a little paper because you can't really say too much because they're monitoring, So I put everything in a little kite and I put it by the window, and she read it. So she got my homeboy out there that brought homies, girl, and but she went back out. Nothing happened with her, and tell my homeboy everything, and I tell him, hey, this is disconnected, so he's trying to wash me up. So he's like, what? After you did all that for him? So, but he didn't know that my other homie, as well as I did, we knew my other homeboy from his clique, Popeye, that got that stuff for him, and my other homie, Payaso tells the dude that, hey, this dude's trying, your homie's trying to do this to the homie, from the clique. What's up? So he's like, what? Hey, that stuff wasn't hot, but I gave it to him. So we're like damn, So at this time, my homie out there, he was helping out the homie Chispas from 18, big homie that passed away already, and so he brought it up to him. So he's over here thinking that he's all in the good, that I'm washed up, and the homie explains it to him. So he's in 5 block and I'm in 6 block. So and back then you come out to group yards. What, you're out there in the yard with all the homies. So if you got something coming, you're gonna get it, and everything is mandatory workout and mandatory torpedoes if it's time to do it. That's why that's what we were. That's what you come in here, like I mentioned. You come in here, you're gonna have to step up, or or you're gonna get, stepped on. And that's basically, what I was pushing for, and what, what he was, pushing for more than I did, because he was all political about his at that time. So, but my homie, I get a visit again, and my homegirl, shows me, the little note. So it says, for the homie, to get at someone else, homie's an asset. They already know who's there. Work is around in here, so they know who's where. What positions they're playing. So it tells me, hey, they said for this guy to, get at this person, and let them know, that Chispas is aware about this, and that they want old boy to get the same treatment that he gave you, back here in the home for doing that, and for lying and trying to use the other big homie's name for his benefit, and trying to wash you up. And I was like, damn. So that, for me at least, at that time, my neighborhood, that the cards would play right, for as far as the neighborhood stuff goes. And yeah, he got his back there in the hole, and they, he ended up getting, stabbed up, and like, bad too back then. And it just to show, this story is just, is to show you as well that, like I said, like, you come to prison, you gotta come with that mind frame that, you're gonna have to try to stay alive, and I understand that, a lot of things are watered down now. It's not the same that, like it used to be, when we're coming up, and the causa, like we used to call it, but it was like survival mode, and putting in work, and making a name for yourself, and unfortunately for me, it took that right there, that situation, for me to start getting, that's how politics started coming in my world, like it opened the door for,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It opened the door for, for the political way of life in here, and I didn't want it, I wasn't looking for it, pushing for it, but I was like, man, it's kind of like falls on your lap, and you're gonna have to play your cards right, and thankfully, I can always get the level-headed, and I've never been the type that's, scandalous with people, because even though I'm in prison, I still have my morals, and I still, believe in karma. I believe you do someone, scandalous or doing wrong, eventually, it's gonna come and bite you again. So, I try to, play it right and help people that, needed help, and, but, don't come in here, assuming that you're just gonna do your time.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And get on with your life, and, and be cool about it, and just, post up, like some people say, like, nah, it ain't no posting up, You're gonna have to do your thing, and if not, you can be put in situations like mine, So, hey, if you can avoid, getting caught up in a situation like mine, like, hey, you already know the other outlet, and, listen, keep doing what, if you can work, try to get a job, and like I always, say at the end, always, like, if you have someone, that you care for, or love out there, if you have kids, like, focus your attention on that, it's gonna be like, way better than, the choices that, that some of us, have to make, like the choices that I made, and it took this long, to finally, open my eyes and do the right choices, start